Hey, Dread Central people, good to see you. It's Kane Hodder. Hopefully you'll keep listening because if you don't, I'll kill you.
Hey, I mean, that's fair. So we're here to talk about your movie Dead by Midnight, Why to Kill. For those who might not know about it, could you give us a little spiel, a little bit of a log line? How would you describe the movie?
Well, first of all, it's a kind of a conglomerate of different scenes and different pieces. And what is amazing to me are the performances because this is not a big budget production. And often you get very inexperienced actors because of the budget.
Mhm.
And sometimes the production suffers. But I'm telling you, the acting and just the different performances from different characters is really good. I was just watching a bunch of stuff again this morning, and I'm really pleasantly surprised by all the other actors involved.
I thought it was very funny, especially your segments.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, how would you describe your segments in this film?
Well, I happen to be myself
Mhm.
in the film with uh, anger issues,
Mm.
which is quite accurate,
Mhm.
actually. I have, I've always had, a temper that's hard to control. And if I could show you, I have some metal cabinets next to me here, and
Uh-huh.
they, my wife hates it, but there's knuckle marks all through the doors of the cabinets from me getting frustrated with something and punching the door. So, you figure you grow out of that kind of ridiculous behavior, but I never did. So it kind of makes it fun for my character being myself, trying to control impulses with a medication,
Mm.
which is called Murderall, which is great name for a medication, I must say. But and I'm the spokesperson for the drug and trying to convince people that it totally makes me far easier to deal with, which of course it doesn't, as we see through the different scenes. But it was just pure fun because I could try. I ad-libbed a lot of dialogue, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, which is often the case. But it was just a really enjoyable experience to work on the film, and then having a director that is confident in their own abilities enough to let someone like me ad lib, because a lot of times directors get very stuck on what the written page is and don't really like changing it. But I was very fortunate in being able to try things. Not that they always work, like I said, but it's nice that when you have a director that's confident enough to let
Mhm.
you try things.
Part of what made it so funny is it really had that kind of 80s, 90s infomercial vibe to it.
Right.
Do you remember any of those outrageous infomercials from back then? The one that I remember specifically is the psychic Madame Cleo. Is there any of those
Right.
that come to mind? Like, can you see any of them?
Nothing that comes to mind immediately, but I'm sure that the history of that kind of stuff was in the back of my mind while I was doing this, and I probably drew
Mhm.
from that without even knowing it, even.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does have that feel, and it was just pure fun doing the scenes, and especially
Mhm.
playing myself because I've played myself in a couple of other projects, but not in this kind of context. So
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun. And any of my friends, old friends like high school friends and stuff that watch it say, "Oh my God, that's actually you." Literally the way you're acting. And that's why it doesn't look like a performance, I guess, because I kind of do have those kind of issues. And so it was fun to kind of poke fun at it.
When fans or filmmakers meet you in real life, are they surprised by your personality, or does it align with what they'd imagine?
Well, oddly enough, sometimes when I meet a fan for the first time and I punch them in the face, they're like, "Why would you do that?" And I'll say, "Well, it's just my thing, and that's how we get to know each other." So I guess that's how that would work.
I was speaking to Lena Quigley yesterday, and she promised me that if I ever get to meet you in real life, you will really strangle me. And I hope that that does happen one of these days.
Oh, it will, Josh. I'm
Biggs.
already thinking about it right now.
Yeah, too bad I'm
And
not there.
yeah,
You know, you
I'll come in that house that you're sitting in,
you're just
which
gonna appear behind me right
which
now.
um, that appears to be your grandmother's house behind you. Is that accurate? Or
It's my personal style is very grandmother, so I really appreciate you calling that out.
yeah, hey, anything I can do to ridicule somebody, I'm all
Hey,
for it.
I mean, it's a dream come true, to be honest. You've scared a lot of people, especially a lot of, people growing up and kids. But I was wondering, when you were young, was there ever a horror movie that really fucked you up? Was there ever that one thing that really like scarred you for life?
I don't know about scarred me for life, but it really did affect me. And whenever I would, once I became an adult and would look back on it, I was like, man, that really was a powerful movie
Hmm.
and pretty scary. And this is, really shows my age, but it's when I was a kid, The Birds.
Uh, hmm.
And just to think of something that's typically so harmless, pecking your fucking eyes out,
Yeah.
that one scene with the pecked out eyes, oh, I had dreams about that for years. And to the point where I thought, if you can affect an audience that way with performance or storyline or whatever, then you've done a great job. So I always kept that in the back of my mind playing the character,
Hmm.
like especially Jason and even Victor Crowley, to make it believable. And don't let the audience ever, this was always my goal, don't ever let the audience, while viewing the film, think, oh, that's a guy pretending to be scary. My goal was always to have the performance such that the audience never reminds itself that it's a movie. And, some of the things I did, especially as Jason, with my performance was stuff that, like, for instance, at conventions, people will ask me, hey, can you do the Jason walk? Because people always liked how I moved as Jason. And the first couple of times I heard that, I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I that's just how I walk. So that's why it never looks like I'm acting,
Uh-huh.
because I'm not. I'm just doing what feels natural. And without fail, over the course of my career, whenever I would enter a scene doing something that just felt natural, without fail, that was the best idea I could have had
Yeah.
regarding that scene. Don't let the audience come out of the scene by thinking, it's just a guy pretending to be scary. And it's far more difficult than people think to be scary without looking like you're trying to be scary.
Yeah, you
So,
can't fake it.
right.
So you're saying The Birds is the one that really did you in. Would you say you have a phobia of birds now?
No, no. I think maybe I did for a little while back then, but that's the only one that really scared me, I guess, because of my age. I probably shouldn't have seen it at that age, but I did. And then, you know, the next decade, a film came out that is still one of my favorite films of all time.
Hmm.
And I think it came out in 1974, I believe. And when you watch it, it's still a good movie. How many movies from 1974 can you watch and not roll your eyes because stuff looks so ancient and
Mhm.
storylines are stupid? But it's The Exorcist.
Oh,
And still to this day is my favorite, if you want to call it a horror film, I guess it is. Um, but it's still my favorite scary movie ever.
it's one of the scariest ever made. I don't know if it's around the same time as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another one that kind of just feels real. I asked Tony Todd once if in real life fans are ever scared, like really scared to see him. And he said yes. Do you ever get that? Do people ever have a hard time differentiating between the movies in real life?
Yes, probably not as much as Tony gets because,
Mhm.
you know, just his demeanor when you meet him and stuff, he's intimidating. And even though he's a very nice guy and a very good friend of mine, he can be pretty intimidating when you first meet him because he's big and his voice is so deep and the characters he plays kind of, precede him when you meet him. And so, I just feel like he, like myself, and your audience will roll their eyes when I say this, but I feel like I was born to play Jason. I really do. It sounds stupid and
Mm-mm.
uh, kind of, because it sounds like, oh, please, come on, you're a fucking actor. Uh, you know, don't take it so seriously, but it just always felt natural to me to play the character. And I think that's why John Beekler insisted that I play the character, because I think everybody uh, from Paramount to, anyone involved with the Friday series was happy with CJ's performance. And I felt very fortunate to be able to step in there. It was all because of John Beekler.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at that halo of beautiful light above me. Does that make me look?
Very angelic. I could never be afraid.
That's my middle name, Josh.
Yeah,
Angelic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kane Angelic Hodder.
Speaking of, you're probably close with all of the horror legends, or you at least know them. Is there anyone that, people might be surprised to know are really sweet or very nice in real life?
you know, uh, Nobody in particular stands out with
Mhm.
that, but for me, and I've been a stuntman for 45 years now, and you meet a lot of actors when you're working stunts.
Mhm.
But from my experience, and most everyone else that has been doing this a long time agrees with me, that the people that play the most despicable, horrible, mean characters in film, and mostly film, not really TV, but
Mhm.
are the people, are the actors that are the nicest in real life. And the people that you want to love because you love laughing with them, the comedians and
Uh-huh.
funny actors, so often are the fucking assholes. And
I've heard.
I know you want me to say some names, but I cannot, because I
We'll
don't
just
need more
yes.
litigation against me. But
Hmm.
boy, I'm telling you, every time that fans meet somebody like myself or somebody else that's known for being terribly violent, they walk away thinking, God, that was such a nice person.
Hmm.
And, you know,
Except for you, you're the rotten apple, though.
I am.
Yeah, I could only
Oh,
assume.
okay. I appreciate that.
Do you have
I'm
any
gonna, I'm gonna find out where your grandmother's house is, and I'm gonna visit.
uh feels like Little Red Riding Hood now. I mean, I'm up in Canada, so I'm cold too, just so you know.
Where?
In Toronto.
Our 20-year anniversary of Toronto, remember? No?
Mm-mm. Remind me.
Jason X
Oh,
was shot completely in Toronto.
cool.
And that was 20 years ago this month.
Wow. We
Yeah.
got to do something on Dread Central for that.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah. So, and
what a great movie.
you know, part 7 we shot in Alabama and Los Angeles.
Yep.
Part 8 was in Vancouver, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and one day in Times Square.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell was all in LA, and then Jason X was all in Toronto.
Right. With one day in hell, right? The one day on location.
But I wouldn't call it hell.
Right, right. Just Canada. Before
Same
I let
thing.
you go, what are you reading or watching, or is there anything that you're consuming lately that you want to recommend to the Dread Central audience?
As far as viewing something?
Yeah, books, movies, TV, anything.
I have been watching a lot of miniseries like Yellowstone and
Yeah.
Ozark,
Oof.
which Ozark starts again, I think Friday, the new season.
Last season, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And so my wife and I have really enjoyed those shows. I'm a big fan of a mindless nothing TV show really called Ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy that show because that is my kind of humor when it's physical and stuff like that. And I always enjoy reading the stories of true life serial killers. I find it fascinating. Not that I'm fucking wishing I could do that stuff and all that, but to me, the most fascinating personality is someone that can be so horrifically violent and then be so engaging, typically with people like Bundy, people like that, that you can have such two different personalities within the same person. It's just fascinating to me. And reading how, their background about before they got into the crimes that they ended up committing.
The arts.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Thanks for chatting with Dread Central today, and I hope we get to hang out some point soon.
That'd be great. I mean, I'd love to come back up to Toronto and just work again. I mean, I'm sure there's still a lot of filming going on. It just hasn't happened again, but I appreciate you having me on, Josh, and please make sure you say hi to your grandmother. And
I will.
Thank you for letting us use her living room.
Yes. Yeah, she'll be thrilled.